Good evening, Palm Bay. Good evening, Brevard County. Welcome to the candidate interviews. Long awaited. This is our first set of interviews for 2024 election, August 20th. You will be going to the polls to elect your candidates across this region for the various offices. And Palm Bay Live will be interviewing many candidates for the next several weeks. And with me tonight in the studio is Mr. Vernon Anderson. And he is running for, say, sir, what are you running for? Tell the audience.
State House of Representatives, District 33.
Thank you, sir. And he is here tonight to tell us why should be selected for this seat. And so he's going to give us his background. We're going to ask him some tough questions. You're going to have an opportunity to call in and voice your questions and or support to the candidate and let him know that you have his back, right? So we are here tonight with him, and we would like to open up by asking Mr. Anderson to do an opening statement. Tell us about yourself, your background, and how you have served your community over the last several years. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Most of my adult life, I've been defending my country. I spent 20 years in the United States Air Force. And of course, my second career has been in aerospace and defense. The products that we build in aerospace and defense are the products that I used while I was in the United States Air Force. And I take pride in building them, especially with my second career. And that's why, I stuck with it because I still want to serve my country in one way or another. I'm attracted to helping people. I'm extremely attracted to helping people and providing service for those type of people that need my help. The recent climate that we're in right now, the current climate we're in, is prompting me to run for office. And I know that I have what it takes to represent the District 33. I am married for 35 years to Patrice Anderson, which that should be testimony within itself. The longevity of which I look at things. Being married for 35 years in today's climate is very, I would say, unheard of. It's rare, but we're a partnership, and that's the partnership that I'm looking to develop with the constituents of District 33 to make those decisions that impact us on a daily basis. I have a son that graduated with a criminal justice degree, and I have two daughters, twin girls. That's why my beard is so great. That are still in the Florida college system, working on their education as well. I've been here in Florida. This is my second tour to Florida. The first tour was 2002, 2006 when I was active duty Air Force. However, I've been in Florida since 2016. And I've grown up here in Melbourne, in West Melbourne. And I still serve West Melbourne. I still serve my community. The one thing that I take pride in is that the communities that I've been part of over my 56 years of living, I've always put service before self of my community because I know there is something out there bigger than me.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that introduction. Now, let's get into the questions. As a former member of the West Melbourne Planning and Zoning Board, what key insights have you gained about urban development and zoning that you plan to apply at the state and local level?
Well, first and foremost, the serving on the planning and zoning board in West Melbourne, it has been extremely beneficial for me. I've learned a lot. We have a phenomenal team, and I am the youngest on that team. I've only been serving for 2.5 years, and we have people on that team that's been serving well over 10 years. One thing that I know, and one thing that I've done throughout my career, is I've always listened to the people with the experience, and take my word for it, they've grown me up pretty fast on the planning and zoning board. But some of the cases that we listen to are extremely impactful to our community. And what I've learned is you cannot just make a decision based on emotions when it comes to planning and zoning. You have to look at the facts. You have to look at the data. You have to understand the communities that we're dealing with before you weigh in your decision. That's what I've learned, and that's what I'm willing to take to the state level. That's what I'm going to take to the state level with me. That collaborative effort.
Awesome. Sir, you're facing Anthony Yance in the upcoming primary. What do you believe sets you apart from your opponent, and why should voters choose you instead of him?
Experience, wisdom, knowledge. I'm an infrastructure and development person by trade. I am an aerospace engineer as well. However, serving in the community has given me that knowledge to understand the communities. The one thing that I know I understand is that this is a 4 city district, and I can't just focus on one. I would have to focus on all 4. What truly sets me aside is I understand the government behind all 4, and I have uh, colleagues that work in the government in all 4. So I have a pathway of being able to collaborate with them as well. That's what set me aside from them.
Awesome. Ready for this question? Randy Fine, the previous representative for this district, or he's currently serving until it's finished, right? Has somewhat of a controversial tenure. How do you plan to differentiate yourself from his legacy? And what new direction do you plan to take?
How do I, there, there's only one way to differentiate myself from Randy Fine, and that's just to show up. And because most people understand the integrity that I bring to this position, but I don't make promises I can't keep. And the one promise that I'm making the people of District 33 is that they will have access to me. They will always have access to me because it's their voice that I should be taking to Tallahassee and not mine. And that's what we're missing today. You can put a room of 100 people together and ask, does anybody know Randy Fine? Maybe 1 or 2 will raise their hand, and that's not a good look.
Okay. I want to ask you a question about free speech. The Supreme Court recently halted efforts by Florida to regulate how social media platforms manage content. In addition, Florida has seen several legislative efforts to regulate campus protests and limit demonstration, raising concerns about the right to free speech and assembly. How do you view these legislative actions, and what measures would you propose to ensure that the rights to protest and free speech are upheld both online and offline? And would you ever attempt to block your constituents on social media like your predecessor?
One thing that I fought for 22 years is the right to speak freely, and that's what our democracy is based on. However, free speech doesn't mean that you can just go wild with it. And the one thing that you can't do with free speech is weaponize it, and that's what a lot of our politicians are doing today. But the one thing that I look at is when it comes to free speech, we have to be able to hold the people that are abusing that right accountable to free speech. If you get out and you tell a bucket of lies and no one's holding you accountable to that I take issue with that. If you get out and you call yourself not factually giving information or rearranging the factual information to make it benefit you versus benefiting the whole, and I take issue with that as well. There should be legislation regulating, but we can and cannot say on social media as well. And I will get behind legislation for that.
Awesome. Sir, education. One of your platform points is addressing government overreach in education. Florida has recently been leading the nation in book bans, with over 1,400 books removed from the school shelves during the 2022-2023 calendar year. These bans have driven have been driven by new legislation and significant community involvement, particularly around books, covering topics like race, sexuality, and mental health. How do you view these books bans, and what is your stance on balancing parental concerns with ensuring a comprehensive and inclusive education for students?
Book bans. Let's talk book bans. Book banning is the way we're doing it here in Florida. It's I think it's reckless. I think it's very improper. The reason being is because the people of Florida, making unilateral decisions on our education. And what I mean is that the Republicans, they have a supermajority. So no matter what they want to do in Tallahassee, that's pretty much what they're voting on. And that right there is dangerous. And the reason being is because, we've been accused of, Democrats have been accused of trying to indoctrinate our children. When you make unilateral decisions, that's indoctrination to me. That means that only 50% of the people are having input on what our kids learn or don't learn. And when you start banning books based on what your knowledge, your limited knowledge is, and not using the proper people to review these books, like the educators, that's problematic to me as well. When you start not teaching proper American history, that's problematic to me as well. When you start mandating that our children learn communism, who does that? That's extremely problematic to me as well. And I will totally get behind any legislator to get rid of all that book banning, or to streamline book banning, or to give the community an opportunity to put their inputs and make their opinions noted on these type of educational decisions that are being made.
Okay. All right. We are already getting calls. I had put up the number earlier for. We have a new format where individuals from the audience is going to be able to call in and voice their questions. You can also utilize the comment field on Facebook or YouTube, whatever platform you're watching us on, and voice your questions there as well. And I'll bring it onto the screen so Mr. Anderson can see it and answer it appropriately. So if you have a question for him, you can go ahead and get ready to do that. But what I'm going to do right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will continue questions on education. Okay, and we're back. We're back. Let's see. We have a question from the audience. So let's go ahead and pose this one before I get into my line of questioning. This is from Paul, and he said, "What would streamline book ban look like, and how would you make it more acceptable to a variety of the professionals already making these choices in our schools?"
Well, first and foremost, professionals that are making these choices are, like I said, are making unilateral decisions without having the full opinionated community involved in these choices. Now, streamlining basically means that once you determine that a book is not proper for our kids to be learning from, then you put it out to the community as well as the teachers and give everyone their opportunity to have an opinion on whether it is or not. And that's, the most important thing when it comes to what our kids are learning is that community engagement piece. And I'm gonna just leave it at that for now.
Okay. Community, I need your help. I need you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, I need you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Please do that for me. Hit the like button. Help me so the algorithm will go up and then Mr. Anderson's message will go out. So this is how we're going to do it. So smash um, that like button for me and subscribe to the channel so Mr. Anderson's message can go out. Please so do that for me right now. Smash that like button for me and let's continue, Mr. Anderson. Here we go. DeSantis signed a law that mandates the inclusion of the history of communism in public schools starting in 2026-2027 school year. While this topic is being added, Florida also been leading the nation in book bans. How do you view this contradiction in curriculum control? And what's your stance on balancing state mandates with ensuring a comprehensive and inclusive education for students?
When you have an echo chamber like we have in Tallahassee currently, the problem I see is that when the leader of the state wants to make a decision, whether it's and it's a bad decision, you have no one there to challenge it. We do have a minority in the Democrat on the Democratic side, and with a supermajority, that pretty much allows us no seat at the table. My problem with that is we need to first and foremost we need to break that supermajority. That way, we will get a seat at the table. And by him mandating the history of communism, but removing the history of African American history, that's not American. That's not proper American history at all. What benefits are we going to get from the history of communism? I'm not. I'm not even. Make that make sense to me. I need him and the Republicans to make that make sense to me.
Okay. Let's go back to Paul. Paul has a follow-up question. He said, you said you've been in favor of some legislation regulating social media speech. How would you preemptively regulate that without abridging First Amendment rights?
Yeah, just like on Facebook, when you say something derogatory and someone make a complaint, Facebook hold you accountable by suspending your account. I will support any type of legislation that holds the people making these false accusations, these lies, telling these lies, are saying something that's just completely, utterly, just I would say inappropriate. I would hold them accountable. I would support any legislation to hold them accountable, one way or another.
Okay. Florida is losing a lot of teachers, Mr. Anderson. The average teacher salary in our state is less than the minimum living wage of 58,970, while the national average is around 69,544. Creating a better environment to retain teachers is crucial. How do you plan to address this in Tallahassee? Do you envision some sort of approach that focuses both on improving teacher pay and providing affordable housing? Is this something that you will do?
Understanding that Tallahassee is a body governance, I would have to collaborate with the people across the aisle to make sure that our teachers are taken care of. And the teachers pay, and I'm totally in agreement with it. It's the same pay that when I was in elementary school 50 some odd years ago. And that's just not fair to them. The question you got to ask yourself and answer is, would you want someone making $39,000 a year teaching your kid? It's almost like, the lowest bidder type thing. No, our teachers are way more valuable than that, and they need to be paid properly. Yes, I would incentivize. I would support legislation that incentivizes bringing teachers to our state 100%, as well as the teachers that we currently have to keep them in this state.
I just realized I'm not on the stage. What is motivating you to get into politics? This is a question from the community.
I've had an extremely uh, successful career, starting out with GSA FSS, working for the federal government, going to college. Of course, I worked and went to college at the same time. However, I decided to join the Air Force, where I had an amazing career. And once I retired, I went back into aerospace and defense, as stated earlier. Yes, I am very busy. I serve on boards. I serve my people, my community. Being that I've had a successful career in my life. The question is, wanting to get back into why am I wanting to get into politics? The short answer to that is because it's time. It's time for someone with the integrity to get into politics. And the one thing I always say, and I say it jokingly, I'm not a politician. I'm just an intelligent man that knows politics. And that's where I stand because right now, the politicians that we do have, the career politicians that we do have, it is time for them to go.
Okay, great. Austin, I see a question, and I do have a question along those lines. So stand by. I will be able to pose it here in a second. You advocate for increased funding for community support and events. What specific types of events and community programs do you believe are most beneficial for District 33? And how will you ensure they receive adequate funding?
I'm a strong advocate for our disabled population in District 33 in our community. We need to start putting uh, projects together that allow them to be part of our community, as well as when our disabled and our mentally challenged people age out of the system, we need some type of funding to help them transition into adulthood. And their mental disability and their physical disabilities don't go away when they age out the system. So we need to be mindful of that in this district, not just this district, but this entire county, and start preparing them for an adult life, a more productive life after they age out the system.
Awesome. A reminder, audience, I know many of you are watching on the YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that, smash that like button if you're on Facebook and on the any other platforms. Please smash that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. Help Mr. Anderson's message to go out. This will help the algorithms. And so please do that for me. You emphasize the importance of freedom of choice. Did I see that yet? No. Importance of freedom of choice, particularly in relation to abortion rights. So, Austin, this will help with your question that you're trying to pose. Florida has recently implemented a 6-week abortion ban, replacing the previous 15-week restriction. Are there any specific legislative actions that you plan to advocate for to protect the right to an abortion in our district and in Florida in general?
Well, the one thing that is I support access to safe medical care for women. Women should not die from miscarriages in this country, nor suffer avoidable health consequences. Women should have the right to save their lives and their health. I 100% support a woman's right to choose. Women have the right to choose what they, along with the advice of their primary care manager, doctor, how to manage their health care, their own health care and wellness, especially for their own bodies. This is a basic human right. Doctors are more knowledgeable about healthcare than politicians. And that's the statement that I'm gonna end on that statement.
Okay, great. Economic development is crucial for any district, given that Florida voters tend to identify inflation and property insurance as top concerns. How do you plan to attract new businesses and create job opportunities in District 33 while addressing these economic pressures?
Economic development is about capacity. As the industry grows, we're going to need more capacity, more workforce here in District 33, in Brevard County, period. We're going to need more housing. We're going to need more hospitals. We're going to need more department stores. We're going to need more restaurants, schools. We're going to need a lot. But the one thing that we need to pay close attention to is the capacity of personnel coming here. We don't want to fall out of balance when it comes to economic development. We don't want to overdevelop, but yet say we don't want to underdevelop either. So I support 100% economic development on the Space Coast because I understand the programs, the personnel in that space industry, in the aeronautics industry, in the aerospace industry that's coming to this area. And we're gonna need to increase our capacity.
Okay, awesome. Sir, I'm going to skip down to insurance reform because this is a troubling situation that we're facing in Florida, right? You know, the state has been grappling with property insurance issues, significant increases in premiums. This market is struggling. What are your plans to address property insurance? Because it doesn't seem like the state is doing enough, right? I can say as a homeowner, sometimes I struggle when I look at that bill on an annual basis and I see it keeps going up and it's not going down. So what help can you offer for us? What proposal will you bring to the table?
And you're absolutely correct. The insurance industry in the state of Florida is unregulated. It needs to be legislated. Uh, and I agree with you. When you open up your mortgage and your insurance and they're the same cost, that's very problematic to me, especially when you pay a $3,000 mortgage and then you got a $3,000 per month insurance bill. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? But fixing the insurance problem fundamental, is the basic fundamental of supply and demand. Insurance companies in Florida are leaving, which leaves not many insurance companies here. So of course they're able to increase our rates. What I would do is I would want to create some type of legislation to to support insurance companies coming back to Florida. We need to increase the companies here in Florida. That way there would be a competitive, there would be competition here, and hopefully our insurance premiums would decrease, just based on the pure competition alone.
Okay, great. Along the lines of economic development, I do have a question coming in, another text message from the audience. Economic development question, it says, the infrastructure in District 33 is not suitable for the growth Florida is anticipating. What would you recommend as a solution to the infrastructure problem? And I'm going to take a pause here, as audience. There is a new option that and individuals are aware of this number because I had placed it up before at the start of the show. So that's why they're texting me. So I'm going to put the number on the screen. I'm going to give you the opportunity to call into the studio. We're going to make sure this works because I've been testing it out all weekend. This is a new option that I have come up with on Palm Bay Live. So you can call into this studio by calling that number and we can have a conversation. You can pose your questions directly to Mr. Anderson. I do have several more questions for him. So if you give me a second, let me get through some of the questions I have remaining, and then you can start calling that line. Okay? All right. So where did I leave you off? I talked about infrastructure. You have that question that you just answered. So let's continue on the infrastructure. Saab Brevard, South Brevard in general has seen a massive influx of new residents, right? You've seen that. You drive around, the sky rises, they're going up. Apartment buildings are all over the place. New homes, new developments are popping up everywhere. Now, what are we going to do to expand these roads? Some of these roads are state owned. How are we going to do help with the development as far as expanding these roads to ensure that our residents can safely commute daily back and forth to work and whatever else they have going on?
So infrastructure it's a capacity issue, and we all understand that. However, infrastructure is almost like the human body. You know,
Hmm.
the older you get, the more worn you get.
Hmm.
We need to stay ahead of sustaining and maintaining our infrastructure, no matter what. South Brevard has gotten behind. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of money to get them up to speed. And I empathize with them. I run into the potholes myself. I noticed that the streets are extremely narrow. I totally get that, and I'm definitely going to work with that city government to improve their infrastructure program and infrastructure planning.
Okay. All right. The number is on the screen. You can start calling in now. You can start calling in now if you do have a question. Um, Let me talk about integrity. There's been erosion of trust in the public in all levels of government. How do you plan to go about regaining the trust of the public? Some of our viewers are curious to know if you support mandatory background checks for elected officials, and what are your stands on mandatory drug testing and alcoholic testing as well? What policies do you think would help the public regain trust in their representatives?
Well, first and foremost, everyone that knows me know I lead with integrity. They know, they understand what when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, and they understand the words that come out of my mouth is going to be the truth. Now, as far as background checks and drug testing and alcohol testing on public officials, politicians, I think that's a slippery slope right there. And the reason I say that is because don't forget we have politicians that are reformed drug addicts or maybe alcoholics that used to be alcoholics, but yet instead they went through the process to improve themselves. Yeah. However, with background checks, if you have a felony on your record, our felons in the state of Florida that they can't vote. Getting them their rights back to vote, it seems to be a challenge. However, we have people that can run for office with a felony on their record. And that right there is just one of those balances that we need to really focus on as legislators in order to ensure that the people that has served their time are able to vote. Yet instead, if you have a felony, depending on what type of felony it is on your record, should you be allowed to run for office? And my answer to that is absolutely not, depending on the felony.
Okay. Let's take another text message questions, and I see some questions coming in from the audience too in the chat. So we're gonna try to address those. Let me go ahead and read this one off to you. It says, "Speaking of integrity, you've been very intentional about getting out into our district and being visible, much more than our current rep. What is the largest concern that has been raised to your attention while you've been campaigning? And a follow up, what is your plan to address it?"
The largest concern, I believe I was knocked a little bit over a few thousand doors and spoken to the residents of not only Palm Bay, but Melbourne Beach, as well as West Melbourne. The biggest issue that's coming up is an infrastructure issue. It is also our affordable housing issue, our homeless. All that it's equal across the board because when they talk about infrastructure, we talk about our housing. When they talk about healthcare, we talk about the homeless. And those are the issues that they're bringing to me. Those are the ones that are keeping them up at night. Those type of issues. In order for me to truly understand what and how to begin to fix that. We need to have a moratorium on those issues. That way, we as leaders can truly understand the root cause of the problems, and that way we can come up with a more viable solution to fixing those issues.
Okay. Let's feel a question from the audience. What is your opinion on the IRL and can it be saved?
Oh, can you do me a favor? That acronym IRL means something totally different than me than probably what it does.
Yeah, I think it's Indian River Lagoon that she's referring to.
Oh, Indian River Lagoon.
Yeah.
Wow. Indian River Lagoon is extremely important to our environment here in Brevard County, as well as here on the Space Coast. The one problem that I see is, yes, it is being polluted, contaminated. The, and some of it is not intentional, but the intentional piece of it, where people are actually dumping into the area, we need to hold them accountable. We need to reinstate policies and laws at the local level to hold them accountable when they're found to be, found to be the ones, contaminating the Indian River Lagoon. That is an extremely important feature of our industry here.
Okay. I don't think we're gonna ask about Gaza on this show. We're getting outside the realm of local politics. I try to stick. Well, okay, this one also is talking about Palestine, so we're gonna remove that. All right. So yeah, we're not gonna ask those questions here. Sir, let me take a break, and hopefully we're gonna have some phone calls. If anybody wants to call in, now is the time to do that. Um, and so I'm going to take 1 minute break, and then you can call in with any support or questions for Miss Anderson.
At Handle with At Handle with Love Pet Care, we understand that pets are family. Our mission is to provide loving, personalized care for every pet, every time. Whether that's a fun play session in the backyard, a walk around the neighborhood, or just some much needed cuddles. Every pet, from bunnies to birds to fishes, they all receive the one-on-one care and attention that they deserve. We offer a wide range of personalized services, so even if your pet has unique needs, our professional and trained sitters have you covered. To learn more about our company and services we provide, please visit our website at handleoflovepetcare.com.
Hi, we're Bartman Enterprises. We create custom apparel for schools, clubs, sports teams, businesses, and nonprofits. We're a one-stop shop for all your custom apparel needs. We offer a wide variety of products for you to choose from, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, jerseys, spirit wear, and so much more. We use high-quality materials and can customize just about any product you can think of. We're an approved vendor for Brevard Public Schools and appointee vendor for City of Palm Bay. We can do any style, any color, any size. No project is too big, no minimum or maximum quantity. We'll get it done, guaranteed. Call now and mention PB Live 10 for free setup and 10% off.
Okay, and we are back. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, you're live. Hello? I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
So the question I had is, how do you deal with the potential voters choosing to sit out and not vote in District 33?
Did you hear the
But
question?
voting is the basic right. That's given to each individual in this country. My campaign motto is your vote is your power. Why would someone want to not utilize their power to ensure that what's impacting their lives it's changed or improved? How would I go by getting people to vote? You have to meet them where they are. And door knocking is so important because when you meet a person at their home and you have this conversation with them, it makes sense to them at that point when a live human being is saying, hey, I'm running for office. I would like for you to vote for me. This is what I plan on doing to help our lives here in District 33. That makes it makes a huge difference to people when the candidate is sitting in front of them. That's what I'm doing right now, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do until this election is done. That's how you make a change.
Okay. Any follow-up questions,
Thank you.
caller?
Yes, I'm only concerned the people that I'm talking to didn't vote the last time. They want to vote this time. And if we don't get the people to exercise their power to vote, then oftentimes the person that gets elected doesn't have their best interests. So we have to get them out to vote. And I just wanted to hear the candidate's opinion. I think he expressed it well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for being our first caller on Palm Bay Live. I appreciate that. And you have yourself a good night, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Anderson. I'm going to give you, let's see, there's no more questions that I am seeing. Yeah, the questions are more international based, and I'm not doing that tonight. Unfortunately, we're dealing with local and state issues right now, and I'm going to keep it like that. So I understand your opinions, but this is geared towards local and state issues, and for those who are running for federal offices, you can probably bring up those questions. We're going to be interviewing other candidates in the near future. You can probably bring up those questions then when we interview the candidates running for U.S. House Representative. They will be on our platform, and the dates will be posted on our Facebook page as to when they will be on, so you can bring up those questions then. All right? All right, Mr. Anderson, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do a closing remark and tell the voters why they should vote for you. So I'm going to remove myself from the screen. Give me a second. Let me kind of fine tune the screen. So I remove the number and I remove myself. And then you can go ahead and address the audience and let them know why you should be the candidate of choice for District 33.
Well, I should be the candidate of choice for District 33. And the one thing that I have done and I am continually doing is to get out in the public to make sure that I understand the issues of District 33. I'm also out speaking with people themselves so they can get to know who I am. This is one reason why I feel that I should be. Part is I understand the Space Coast. I understand the Space Coast more than most. And the one thing that I know as a representative that I wouldn't do is that this is a collective in Brevard County. I would not do something in District 33 that's going to negatively impact another district. That means that I would want to collaborate with all districts that affects Brevard County. and not just haphazardly make decisions for just District 33 without understanding the ramifications of all decisions that are being made here that impacts us. One last thing is that longevity is one of my key characteristics of who I am. And in order for me to be able to be the representative of District 33, I have to be here. I have to be in the community. I have to be here for a long time to truly understand the community. And that's my intent. My intent is to serve this community for the next 8 years and to bring not just bring, but use the knowledge, the wisdom, and the experience that I've gained here, and while serving on the boards and while serving West Melbourne, as well as the remainder of Brevard County. My family has rooted themselves here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. And the one thing that I hope people understand, that they will have access to me 100% of the time, not just when I feel it's beneficial for you to have access to me. You will have access to me. You will be able to reach me via email, via telephone, or whatever method you choose. Facebook, it doesn't matter. The one promise that I am making is that promise right there. You will be able to speak with me, and you won't be getting a runaround, not from a representative like myself. And I thank you all for your time. I appreciate you.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, a question came in late, and I know you did your closing remark. Would you like to address it?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me bring it up on screen. With the rise in the drug and opioid use, once elected, how do you plan on working closer with our local law enforcement to help bring down the use and help eradicate this issue in District 33?
First and foremost, our law enforcement they are the experts at this. They would have to work with me and explain to me what they need in order for them to combat this rising drug and opioid use in our district. Not just only our district, our county. We have to work as a collective in Brevard County to drive this down, because say, for instance, we fix our problem in District 33. Basically, all we're going to do is transfer it up to District 31, because people are going to realize, okay, these people are for real in District 33 about drug and opioid use. So they're just going to move their operation. And that's not something I want to see happen. We have to, as a collective here in Brevard County, work on it together. We just can't do it in District 33 alone.
Awesome. All right. All right. Thank you, audience. Thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight, along with Mr. Anderson. For you heard his concerns for the community. You heard what his stance are, what he's going to do for the community, and it is your choice. It is your choice to vote on August 20th. I can't tell you who to vote for, but get out and vote, because your vote does count. So please get to the polling stations and get out there early. I think in 8 days, we're going to be seeing those mail-in ballots start arriving at your home. If you're elected to have a mail-in ballot, ensure that you fill it out, you get it back to the elections office on time, etc. And if you have any questions, reach out to your representatives or the elections office, and voice your concerns, whatever it is, and ensure that you cast your vote. You get the opportunity to cast your vote. Next up, I'm going to be having an interview with Michael Barrett. He's running for Palm Bay City Council, starting here at 8 o'clock. So I'm doing a double banger tonight. I'm going to be tired when I'm done, but it has to be done. Somebody has to do this, because I have to help the community as far as getting the message out for all the candidates, so they can voice their concerns and tell them why, tell the audience why they should vote for them. And so that's what I'm doing. So again, Mr. Anderson, thanks for being our first person on the show for 2024 cycle. Thanks for being a trooper. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for fielding the questions from the audience. I really, really appreciate that. And good luck to you, sir. And best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me.
All righty. Have a good night. See you guys in 7 minutes. We're going to start the next live here in 7 minutes. Please stand by.
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for joining. We are a couple of minutes late.